to Governor Bryan, to all of you assembled. On behalf of the University of the Virgin Islands, Governor Albert Bryan and his administration, and Microsoft, I want to welcome you to this Technology Summit. You will hear shortly from William Adams, Technology Advisor representing Microsoft, and from Governor Bryan, who along with the university have created a unique and exciting partnership. This summit was born out of a conversation between the three entities about how the insights, experiences, and technological power of Microsoft could be harnessed in the Virgin Islands in order to improve the quality of life for all of us and to empower government and the private sector to address the various challenges that we face. The theme for this opening plenary, From Paradise to Wakanda, Empowering Technology for a Societal Transformation, attempts to capture the creative and imaginary power that we hope to invoke throughout this week and beyond. Those of us who are fortunate to live and work in the Virgin Islands know what it means to reside in paradise. We work where others vacation. We gaze upon beautiful oceans and vistas and scenery every day that others glimpse only in magazines. For those of us of African descent, it is a blessing to live in a place in America and not feel that every move we make is being judged by the colors of our skins. It is empowering to see the leaders of a sovereign that looks like you. Yet despite all of these benefits and blessings, we also know that there are challenges even in paradise. Some of the same challenges that plague urban communities across this nation, like poverty, gun violence, and healthcare challenges, exist in paradise. We live and breathe the frustration, delays, and inconvenience that comes sometimes from systems that are not always as up to date or poor customer service, even as we bathe in the beauty of paradise. Wakanda, as we may recall from the iconic film Black Panther, is this technologically advanced African nation where most problems are solved instantly, where things we can only imagine are commonplace, where culture and values are reflected in everything that we do, a place where women are in roles often restricted to men and where elders and ancestors are revered. But for our purposes, Wakanda is not a myth or a fiction. It is a vision. It is a place in the future for the Virgin Islands that we believe can be created through our combined creativity, ingenuity, and dedication. If the power of a government, a university, and the leading technology company in the world can be unleashed and combined to solve even one of the problems I mentioned, then a form of Wakanda is within our grasp. If transformative technology innovation only exists for the movies or only for profit and not for empowering people, then technology is a game and not a value mindset. I believe that there is no limit to what we can achieve if we harness our internal genius, curtail our internal and external biases, and put people at the center. The Wakanda we seek is not perfection, but a better place that is constantly evolving and rising to meet the new challenges of this territory. This cannot occur by accident, but by a concerted and strategic effort that we institutionalize and nurture over the next few years and beyond. There are those who will say that the Virgin Islands need to crawl before it starts talking about flying. My response is that it is our deep desire to fly that will make our crawling easy. We want to leap forward, not wait for the future to come to our doorsteps. The university is committed to this very ambitious and sometimes overwhelming yet necessary mandate. I believe that Governor Bryan and Microsoft are also committed to this vision. Speaking of Microsoft, I want to thank William Adams and his team for the enormous time, effort, and sincere commitment they have devoted to this summit, but more importantly, to this vision which I just described. They have done so consistently and earnestly for no compensation. In addition to the summit, Microsoft is also partnering with the university for the next 2 weeks to conduct a summer institute that focuses on data science with a hackathon at the end, and it is being launched on our campuses as we launch this tech summit. I know our students and faculty will benefit enormously from their insights and technological innovation. Microsoft is also partnering with the university around the design and equipping of the new Innovation Center, which we will launch later this year in the old West Bay supermarket at the edge of our St. Thomas campus. The number of consulting hours they have already freely provided will ensure that we have one of the best and most cutting-edge innovation facilities at a university our size. We are also exploring with Microsoft how some of its new technologies can be employed in the curriculum of our medical school. Our goal is to not only be a new HBCU medical school, but to be one of the most innovative medical schools that improves the lives of the people of the Virgin Islands. I also want to thank Governor Bryan for embracing the summit idea without reservation. He understands intuitively that technology is a major part of the solutions to the challenges that we face here in the Virgin Islands, and I applaud him for being a technology leader. And finally, I want to remind all of us of what we hope to achieve this week. The reason we call this a summit and not a seminar or conference is rooted in our belief that something significant should occur and grow out of these discussions. Those invited to participate are not here to give long speeches or to listen to presentations from others. We are all here to identify problems and develop viable solutions to the challenges that face us. We have structured the work groups so that agency heads can identify problems and those from Microsoft can share available technological answers, and then together, everyone in that session can develop strategies that can be shared with the entire summit participant. On the schedule that you will see shortly if you have not, there are synthesis sessions at the end of the day where the results from the workshop will be shared. And at the end of the conference, the collective, comprehensive approaches that we have developed will be weaved together in a blueprint for the future. And finally, we are not naive. Wakanda will not appear on Friday at the end of the summit. Our vision of a technologically advanced Virgin Islands will only come into existence if all stakeholders assembled here and those who are not stay committed to this process for years to come. Technological innovation does not hold all of the answers for our lives and our future, but it can help us to create the future that we desire and deserve. The people of the Virgin Islands desire and deserve more than what all of us are presently offering. And we want to fulfill their needs and prompt them to dream new dreams and to create new visions. That is the ultimate desire of the summit, and I am confident, based on the people assembled here, based on the leaders who are working with us to bring this about, that we will make a large step forward. Thank you. It is now my honor to bring to the podium William Adams, Technology Advisor from Microsoft.
Good morning. I want to start with, well, I'll introduce myself because that's what everyone does. My name is William Adams, and I've been a Microsoft veteran for 23 years. Most of that time has been as a technology guy. I'm an engineer. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not in marketing. I'm an engineer, engineering manager, architect. I've built stuff. I've shipped stuff. That's a nice long history. A few years ago, or throughout my 23 years at Microsoft, I've every once in a while dabbled in the creation of engineering teams because that's what you do as an engineering manager. So I create engineering teams, we ship a product. I've also dabbled in creating engineering teams outside of shipping products. I spent a few years in India, for example, helping us develop our engineers so that they could become better engineers. So I literally lived in India for 3 years, and all the new college hires that came into the company came through me. I was their first manager. I taught them how to become engineers, and then they went on, and they exist there today. I have a passion for engineering itself. I have a passion for people. Over 2015, I created a program, or co-created a program called LEAP, and it was about solving this problem of why aren't there enough women and underrepresented minorities in Microsoft engineering roles. And I just kind of looked around our company and said, because we're not doing anything active to bring them in. So we created this program called LEAP, and we hired just literally hundreds of women and minorities through that program. And now it's a cornerstone of our diversity model and how we bring people into the company. I tell you all that because I want to answer the question, why are we here? Why is Microsoft here? Now, the first answer to why we're here is because I have a brother, Stephen Adams, who lives here, works here, and we've always talked. We had a company together way back in the day, so we've always talked about technology. We've talked about minorities in technology and whatnot. And he's like, I'm telling you, the Virgin Islands, you know, we got it going on, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You know, I was always just putting him off. But then something clicked during the pandemic. Our mother died in December of last year, and that wasn't really the kicker, but it just woke me up. It's like, okay, you're only on this earth for a certain amount of time. You better make do. You better make good on that time, right? So I thought, all right, I've done all sorts of engineering. It's not just about the code. It's about people, right? And so I brought my favorite prop, which is my Microsoft badge. And on the back of my badge, and this is the same for every Microsoft employee, it says, our mission, empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Let that sink in for a second. It does not say empower every Western society to achieve more. It does not say empower every rich person to achieve more. It says every person on the planet. Well, every person on the planet is every person on the planet, all right? Now, a few years ago, I did a thing in Africa where I had a young engineer come up to me and say, there's no engineering in Africa. Now, Africa's a big place. And I mean the whole continent of Africa. It's a big place. And population-wise, it's 1.2 billion people, average age about 19. You gotta think, there's a lot of talent there. And when you talk about empowering everyone, you can't ignore 1.2 billion of them. For Microsoft, empowerment oftentimes means, well, you gotta have engineers there, right? So we set about putting engineers in Africa, and we went into Kenya and Nigeria, and this is my own initiative. We went in and we said, all right, let's put engineers here. So we started in Kenya and Nigeria, and we started putting engineers in, and now the company has engineering in Africa, right? I look at the Caribbean the same way. I look across the entirety of the Caribbean, and I see talent. Some 40-odd million souls out here in these nation states and whatnot, and it's just, there's intelligence here, there's beauty here, there's just opportunities galore, but not necessarily available, right? So when I look at the Caribbean, specifically USVI, I think, all right, you guys do actually have some infrastructure that's useful. You've got broadband. Well, that's the cornerstone for people like us to come and do technological things. Because I can open up my laptop, I can check in code, and things happen, right? You have infrastructure, and that's unique to these islands, and not all the other islands have that sort of thing. So it's a good starting place. You have talent. I have access to the university. I have access to the governor, right? You're all here. We're all here. And this is very important. So why are we here is because my badge says I should be here, because it says empower everybody. Why we're going to stay here is because we're going to work together. Now, Microsoft is a big company. We work a certain way. Normally what would happen is our salespeople would be all up in here. It's like, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this. They're not in the room. They're not here. The engineer's here. The people that I brought with me are all in engineering. The salespeople will come. They have to come. We have to make money. We're Microsoft. It's going to happen. But that's not my lead foot. My lead foot is about community. And very explicitly, I have come and said, I said this to Dr. Hall the first time I met him. It's like, look, I'm here to become a part of community. I come with all humility. I need you. I need you. I need your voice. I need your perspective. I need your intelligence. I need your natural beauty. I need Wakanda. It's here. I need all this diversity. And I'm not just talking about the color of our skin. We're all black. Well, Leela's not. So I need the diversity of the ocean. I need the diversity of the clean air in the sky, right? I need the coral. I need the turtles. I need that diversity as Microsoft because I need different perspectives. If I'm going to achieve, what my badge says, it requires empathy. I can't have empathy if I don't have people in the room with different perspectives, right? So I come to you with all humility as Microsoft and say, please allow me to be a part of your community. Let's work together, right? As Dr. Hall said, these things are achievable. I bring a different perspective. I bring a worldview. I bring a lot of resources. I'm not here to rape, pillage, and plunder. I'm not the new colonialist, right? I don't want my picture on the wall, if you know what I mean. So I'm trying to establish a new way, a particular path of communicating, of working in community, engaging, all that stuff. You're my brothers and sisters. We're going to work this out. We're family. That's my approach. Now, Microsoft will come when we allow them on our terms, okay? We want the rest of Microsoft to come in. We are not coming in and saying, hey, you know what? Sorry, my mouth is dry. If you give me a little tax break or something, maybe we'll do a little something. No, I don't need your money. Come on now, we're one of the richest companies in the world. I do not need your money, right? We'll get paid, don't worry about it. But I don't need your money, and don't ask me for money. This is another thing I told Dr. Hall in the beginning, he can attest. It's not about the money, it's about the relationship, okay? Money's gonna flow, so let's not worry about that. Let's worry about solutions. Let's worry about stuff that we can do. Now, you guys don't know me from Adam, and I told you a little bit of my history, and I brought people here who will tell you, if you ask them, who is this guy? What does he do? Randall here will tell you, that guy just gets shit done, all right? My role in Microsoft is explicitly to make us a preeminent destination for engineers around the planet. That's my role, seriously. That's the job I have. I have broad leeway to do things that lead to that, right? Doing this is part of my job, if you can believe it. It's an extraordinary position that I'm in where I can show up and say, we're going to do some engineering here. We're going to do this. We're going to do this with the university. We're going to do that. And it's done. That's it. There's not 10 levels of going back and getting approvals, bureaucracy, and all the rest. My job is explicitly to break through all of that bureaucracy so that we just get stuff done. That's my job, okay? We don't know each other yet, but we will over the next 2 weeks and beyond, and you will see that everyone here, all the people that I invited, there's 15 of us here on the island, all of us are here because we want to be here. We all believe in the same thing, and we're just going to get this done, right? So that's it. That's my opening. I don't want to belabor it too much, but thank you for having us here. It's an extreme pleasure for us, an extreme honor, and that's it.
Good morning, everybody. I guess I don't need much of an introduction today. So, good morning, Dr. Hall. Good morning, Mr. Adams, William, Microsoft team, cabinet members, and those of you here. Well, I started off today a little slow, but things are improving incredibly. Turns out I'm going to be T'Challa. That's right. But wasn't that speech inspirational by Dr. Hall? That was a fantastic speech. I love that. I'll ask you what my chief of staff asked me because he thinks he's smarter than me. Every time I do something good, he goes, did you write that yourself? It's good to have smarter people than you working around you. Well, you know, to understand my commitment to technology, I think you have to understand who I am as a person. You know, I'm that kid that vividly remembers unpacking the Encyclopedia Britannicas. And they had the red ones were for the kids, and then the brown ones were for the adults. And my dad put the encyclopedias way up high, the brown ones, so I couldn't reach them. And all I could think was, I got to read all these red ones so I could get to the brown ones. You were that kid too, huh? He got so sick of me, of asking questions, he bought me 3 books. Tell Me Why, Tell Me More Why, and even Tell Me More Why. And in those books were all kinds of questions, like why does the moon follow us around? And why does the waves move with the moon? All kinds of questions, anything you could think of. Then as I progressed, you know, I remember my first real interaction with technology, learning simple programming in college. I so enjoyed programming. And then coming to the work world and sitting with Gladys. And I was like, what are you doing? She was my boss's secretary, and she had this thing called Lotus Notes. And she could produce all these cool reports and stuff. She's like, I wanna learn how to do this. And she gave me this really big book and said, here, read that. And I just went to my office, and all night and all day, I couldn't wait to get on the computer and figure out all this Lotus Notes. It was complicated. Remember that Control, Alt, Command, X, Y to do everything. And then Microsoft Suite came along, and it was like, ah. The discovery of access and building databases for my boss. And it was like, I hate to use a war scenario, but it was like carrying a machine gun back to the Revolutionary War, because nobody knew about computers in those days. So I took my boss at the time a report, and it showed our gasoline usage by car, department, and everything. And he said, wow, this is great. Now, how long would it take you to put this in order by price? And he didn't know anything about computers. Like, give me a couple of days, but I need to go home to do it. You now know that's the click of a button. But it's that commitment, and it's that idea of having technology and what it can do for you. The reality that having all of that information, and anybody who knows me well know I love data. I have a friend that calls me the king of useless information. But having that at our fingertips and knowing what it can do, and being able to lead a lot of organizations simply because I was just the most technologically advanced, to the point where I joined a communication company and they asked me, what did I do in my last job? Was I a IT person? I said, no, it's just the ability. I remember for the first time when we had dial-up introduced, and they didn't have it in my area, and I called like the phone company. I was on there for hours trying to figure out how to get dial-up. My first gateway computer coming out of the box, you know, and being able to get onto Yahoo and get a little email. You remember that annoying noise? Never thinking I would get, you know, you finally go, oh, we get 25 megs in the Virgin Islands. You know, I was like, what am I going to do with that? In this building, we have a gig, and it's not enough. Some of you are experiencing right now. Everybody has a device. In the Virgin Islands, we have an incredible opportunity of what we're doing now. The vision that I thought about 10, 15 years ago, all these things are coming true. Our marine industry is expanding in a way that we've never seen before. Our tourism product is being improved every single day by infrastructure dollars that are driven by the federal government or by the recovery. Our education system is being powered up with new schools and new technology so that every single child has a laptop and has access to the internet. Our hospitals and our infrastructure are going to be avant-garde as we put them into use. Our temporary hospital, you should see the operation room in there, just rife with technology. The beds and every single room, you can put in everything electronically. You don't have to write anything down anymore. The bed, you can get weighed just by lying on the bed. The nurse knows how much you weigh, what temperature your body is. Just the technology infiltrating every single sector in such a small place. And I try to remember people, it's a small place. You don't only have to get up in American Airlines to see all 3 islands, 100,000 people. We're like a neighborhood, or 3 maybe, or 4. We can use technology to vastly improve where we are today. We can empower young people to be able to do commerce with people halfway around the world. People who never wanted to live in a dark city building or maybe on a prairie and wanted to live in the Caribbean now have the opportunity to work at large distances. A constant opportunity for each one of our students to reach out and learn Mandarin or French, Spanish, learn how to fly a kite or even a spaceship through the internet. Once isolated, 3 tiny islands in the middle of the Caribbean, we truly have a chance to be Wakanda. You know, when you think about big, audacious things, you know when you're on track is when somebody says, that'll never happen. Right? We had a conversation the other night, and I realized we are the Jetsons. Think about it. We watched them on TV and cartoon, and all of us were like, that will never happen. But now our microwave food comes out at the bing, a minute and it's ready. Right? Now we're able to talk on our watches and communicate. Communicate with cell phones to places we've never heard of. Speak to people all over the world. We can make it happen. I think the most incredible thing about any vision is that only you can see it. When you sit down and you think of all these things in your head, it is as clear to me as day to see myself flying across the Virgin Islands as T'Challa. You got to believe it first. If I told you there was $2 billion of gold at the end of the island, you would laugh. But if I was to convince you that it was true, that there was $2 billion of gold out there, you would run, hustle, scrape, walk, whatever you can to get to that place in order to be the first to collect on it. That's what vision is about. That's the incredible adventure that we're about to take part in, to make our systems talk, to be able to increase efficiency of people by using things that really they're already using every single day. That is an incredible opportunity that we have before us today. You know, we take things lightly because in the Virgin Islands, everybody knows everybody. It's like the governor's here, the president of the university, everybody here. You know, Adrian's here too. But these things truly are special, like Bill said, when they come together, you have the nucleus of great beginnings when you're able to easily reach out to all these important people and make things happen at the speed of light. Speed of light being the one thing there that we don't quite get yet. The ability to work together and make decisions that are going to propel us into the future. You see, I have always been a planner. I'm never thinking about today or tomorrow. I'm thinking 10, 20 years down the future. I was just in my office with my director of communications, Richard, and we were joking. He said, people keep sending me books. When do they think I have time to read? He says, Governor, you're going to collect all of them, and then when you're finished here, you're going to retire and you'll read every day. I was like, not. I don't see any retirement in my future. But the thing we have to grip onto is that we can do it, that we can do that incredible thing, that we can be that incredible people, that we're not limited by our titles or education or any other thing in our space, that we have the ability to be anybody we want to be and recreate the Virgin Islands to be that. But first, we have to believe it. We have to invest and have confidence in ourselves and our co-workers, our friends, family, that they can do it, that we have this potential. When I talk, like I said, I always plan. My future kind of laid out how it was supposed to be. It was a crooked road, but I got to where I wanted to. Today and last week, as I rolled out a 2-year budget, as I rolled out a plan this year also, a 20-year economic development plan for the Virgin Islands, never before in the history of the Virgin Islands. Why? Because we have to stop reacting to what's going on and start predicting what's going to happen. We have to start to have a mentality that we already know what's going to happen and we're going to put the things to control, manage, and take care of it before it happens. Technology is the key to that. And in a place with 100,000 people, it has never been so easier to deploy this. If you think about it, we've already put in this broadband infrastructure ring with the fiber network that we've done. The pandemic, good or bad, has forced us into a space where technology must be key. And now Microsoft has found itself here, lending its engineers, its value component, and all of its resources to the Virgin Islands to move forward. It's up to us now on what we want to do. Whether we want to continue to exist as a society that's constantly reacting, or one that is predicting and knowing what the future of the Virgin Islands will hold for its children and its children's children. I urge you to take this seriously and to participate on a level today that holds the future dear, not for us, but for those young men and women that are looking forward to us and what we can create here in this beautiful Virgin Islands. Thank you, and I hope you have a great summit.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having us here. My name is Lila Tretikov. I'm a deputy CTO at Microsoft, and I'm here to support this mission that we're on to really, I loved, Dr. Ho, I loved your words, the future that we desire and we deserve. I wanted to start talking to you about what Microsoft does and what I do in my role, but before I go there, I actually want to talk about building the future that we desire and we deserve. I came to the United States myself as a teenager, by myself with a backpack. I didn't know what my future was, but I knew what I desired, and I knew how hard I was willing to work to build it. And like many of us, I studied computer science, I studied engineering, and as I was doing that, I had to put myself through school, I had to work for college. I was working in a laboratory. I was working in a genomics lab, and at the time we were mapping the human genome. And one thing that I've noticed is that scientists were looking at the enormous amount of data. They were trying to align genes between different species in order to be able to understand them better. That tools and digital tools were so important for their understanding of the world and for their work. And for the first time, I realized that digital technology isn't there for the technology itself. It is really there to empower everybody to be the best that they can be in the areas that they work in. And since that day, I always saw technology as a tool, the kind of tools that we find, in sub-Saharan Africa, the little hammers that we started with as early humans. Now we have much more sophisticated, much more exciting tools that we can apply, but they're still tools. They're building blocks for envisioning and building the future that we all want. And since that day, I saw my job to help everybody else out there to actualize and bring about the future that they wanted. I spend my time today with people around the world, coaching and supporting and helping them build their future. At Microsoft, I have a very special and very unique role that I am extremely grateful for. I work as a technologist, and my job is to really look a little bit around the corner. What is coming? What can we do for the world? William spoke about our mission to empower everyone, every human in the world. But what does that actually mean in practice? And what we look at is not just what kind of next cool thing we can build, but how can that next thing really affect humanity? And this is why I love my job. Paul Romer, a very famous economist, once said that the mission of the modern corporation isn't just to make money anymore. It really has evolved in understanding what the society needs and building the solutions to fill that gap. And I truly believe that this is very true. This is what we're trying to do on an everyday basis. To give you an example, when the pandemic struck, hundreds of, actually thousands of people at Microsoft became, sorry, I tend to move a lot. Thousands of people at Microsoft, thousands of engineers just started creating and generating ideas of how they could help. It was an incredible moment in time because all of a sudden there were thousands of hackathons and thousands of projects that people were working on, trying to figure out what we can do next. And we actually harnessed that talent, that moment of creativity. We really brought it to bear. Microsoft spent the entire year, myself included, working on projects completely for free to help hospitals, to help doctors. We brought together thousands of organizations all around the world to bring solutions during the COVID pandemic. A couple of them you may be familiar with, the applications that you potentially have on your phone that as Google's and Apple's apps are actually backed by Microsoft technology to help you get notification if somebody around you was sick. Another one was figuring out what kind of testing we needed for people and how much that testing did we need. Yet another one was all about actually taking artificial intelligence and creating bots to enable hospitals to really easily triage and make sure that they get in the people that they need really, really rapidly. All of those simple tools for people who typically doctors don't really work that much with, to empower and enable people to do this in their location all around the world to fight the pandemic together. And what is amazing is coming out of that, we have learned that we can do together with the technological support the kind of thing that we never would have imagined. The velocity of development of vaccines, the velocity of development of therapeutics is unprecedented. We've never built a vaccine faster than 10 years. This year, it only took us 1. Why? Because we were able to break down the virus within days. We had it decoded. And within weeks, we were able to start working. And that's not the only place where we see this kind of incredible creativity that people are exhibiting everywhere, all over the world, all on their own, independently, actualizing, becoming the best, taking their best ideas and turning them into reality. On the other side, we're working on sustainability and sustainability products. Another area where we will all, as humanity, we need to come together. And undoubtedly, on islands like this, is such an important piece of your work. What we've done there is empowered people with knowledge and power to understand the world as a whole, with the planetary, what we call a planetary computer, data that is collected all around the world in order to be able to predict weather patterns or understand hurricanes. Things like that, we're not going to create ourselves. We're going to empower all of you to build this and to experiment and to enable you to figure out the most important thing that you will need to build. We create tools and we bring them to you as much as we can, but the creativity and the real innovation happens on the ground, happens in the areas where you understand the environment and you understand the problems and you're enabled to solve the problems that you have. We've seen this with a most important piece that we're working on is economic inclusion. And this means, personally to me, enabling kids like myself who came from the other side of the world or came from maybe the same city to participate in the economy in the way that they want to do it themselves, and enabling them and training them and giving them the knowledge that will empower them to do this work. In order to do that, we have to empower and enable our children and young adults to learn technology and to become technologically capable and literate. We bring products for that all around the world. You're probably familiar with networks such as GitHub, where anybody can participate and code and become part of a project and ultimately actually make a living with technology itself. But economic inclusion goes beyond just that. It is making information, making the web and making the tools ubiquitously available to everybody. So no matter whether you are in Silicon Valley or you are on the islands here, you have exactly the same opportunity to be a part of this enormous ecosystem that is continually growing. One of the things that we found out just a few years ago is that there are more technologists being hired outside of the tech firms than inside, which means that everything around us is becoming technologically enabled. It's becoming the fabric of all of the world around us. And this is why it's so important to support our youth and support our young adults, to enable them to be able to have that digital literacy. And my hope is that we, as Microsoft, will get to play a role with that. And finally, I talked a little bit about agriculture and sustainability. We play a big role in trying to bring solutions for agriculture, forestry, and I hope that we can collaborate on oceans with you here. Some of the work that we've done is working with biologists to monitor and preserve wildlife, something that was impossible to do before, but is possible now with cameras and artificial intelligence. We can do similar things with oceans and work with your students and around here to develop new solutions and innovate in the ocean segment. Some of the incredible new innovations are happening now in terms of ocean management, ocean monitoring, and preserving the oceans for the future to come. With all of this, I want to thank you for including us and having us join your You're incredible islands. I landed here last night and it was dark, I couldn't see anything. And waking up today and seeing this incredible world that is around us made me just lose my breath. It's unbelievably beautiful. And the people here know it so much better than we can ever imagine. The community here will know and innovate and create the things that we can never imagine in big companies or in these remote locations where we build this software. What we hope to do is to bring you the tools to enable you to do that. So thank you so much for including us. I am really looking forward to the summit and the conference.
Thank you, Lila, for those inspiring remarks and letting us know what Microsoft has already done and how you see it applying to this special place. I want to thank Governor Bryan for his inspiring remarks and, as I said earlier, for his deep commitment to this vision that we are trying to bring into existence. William, thank you for your personal story and your personal commitment to what it is we are trying to do here. And it's really been a joy working with you and various members of your team since we've started on this particular journey. For one of those rare times, we are ahead of schedule. So I was going to see if there were any pressing questions of the 4 individuals who spoke. We won't do too many because we need to be sensitive of creating time for the first work group, which is going to focus on antiquated systems, which I'm sure all of us are interested in. And we need to have enough time in between all of the sessions for us to follow the COVID protocol and be able to come and take care of things. So we really do need to stop and give folks an opportunity before the start of the next session. But I wanted to at least just see if there were any pressing questions in the audience about the plenary before we take a break and get ready for the first work group session. I guess, yes. William, I think that's your question. You want to come forward?
Sure. Not quite sure I understand the question. Do you mean getting information out to people after the summit, or what I didn't quite get it. Exactly. Oh, okay, after the summit. There's a certain amount of stuff that, we're going to capture everything electronically. So we'll write notes and put them into documents, all that sort of stuff. We currently have a website for both the learning portion and the tech summit portion. We will either just add to those websites, they're publicly available right now. So anyone in the world right now could look at our schedule. So we'll either add to that existing stuff, or we'll create another site and just point over there and say, here's all the stuff, and it's just all public, right? So it'll either be hosted by the university or the government, because we don't want it to be Microsoft is driving everything, right? It has to come from the other side, right? So we'll set up some sort of website that everybody can just go and look and see how progress is going. And then we'll do the media sort of, I don't want to say circus, but I will. So we'll do the media circus to make sure that we get the word out, both from the Microsoft side and from hopefully the government side and the university side, all the social media tools that we have at our disposal to just point at the work that we've done. Now, I don't know how we'll deal with, and here's how you can get involved, because the involvement part of it is, some of it is in the government, you know, and some of it is with the university, and some of it might be independent enterprise, right? And we'll have to figure out how all that works, right? But that's the intention, is like, from our side at least, everything will just be out in the public, and we'll just stand it up in places and point people to it. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
And I want to add a couple of points to what William just indicated. One, the governor knows more about than I do, but I know that there is a workshop that the Bureau of Information Technology is doing in about a week. That is going to be one way in which the government is going to try to follow up on some of the things that we discuss here today. As I said in my remarks, at the university, there is a 2-week process that's occurring around relationships with Microsoft, where we're going to be learning a whole lot about what are the tools and processes they offer. And our students in the second week, next week, will be taking some of the solutions that were discussed here during this week and using a hackathon, which is a tool that we've been working with for some time, to see if they can take some of the ideas and turn them into solutions. But what I really hope will happen, and this goes to the core of what William is talking about, we will have to institutionalize this energy. If it's just something we do for a week and then we're all off to back to what we normally do, I don't think Wakanda will ever occur. But if we can figure out a way, working with the governor, to make sure that there's ongoing energy around what we do this week, then I think there will be a way for individuals to access this, become a part of it, and we can spread more of this throughout the Virgin Islands. Any other, just being sensitive to time, any other? Sure.
I think the other aspect of that is like the overall vision for what we want to see. We want to see these things loop in to our 20-year plan, but we have some short-term things that we want to do. You know, people keep talking about getting back to normal. Like, I don't want to get back to normal. Like, I never want to go back there. I mean, I want to stop wearing my mask, but the technology stuff that we've learned, we want to keep driving that. We want that whole talk about having these government centers, where you have all the government offices go away. We want people thinking about accessing the government in every single which way from your phone, whether it's registering for food stamps, checking into your hospital, getting your car registered from your phone. We want people to start thinking about temporary desks, so that you may not work every day in an office, but you don't have a permanent desk. You work 3 days. You come in, you use that desk. When you're not there, somebody else is there. We want people to think along that continuum so that technology is not an appendage, it's just what you do. It's integrated into everything you do and driving the whole Virgin Islands in that direction. I think we got a good jump start with COVID, but we need to keep that momentum, because I call it the herders are herding everybody back into line of how we used to do things before, when we want this disruption to continue its forward momentum in terms of what we're doing with technology. And then for me, personally, the University of the Virgin Islands, we don't invest enough into making it a center of excellence and learning for us. They do, but looking in the outside, when we're looking for talent or we're looking for something, we don't look to the university. I want to continue to empower young people with ideas and information and resources to we start looking there, and that's where our growth and innovation is sprouting from. And I think with the med school, the stuff we're doing with Microsoft, lots of other things that are coming on board. That is what we want because we need this talent. For the first time, this is the only HBCU that pays everybody's tuition if you went to a VI high school. That one single move has made 75% of people going to college go to school in the Virgin Islands. Bye-bye, brain drain. How do we make that true for now? Not as true for our people. How do we attract regional people to come to the university so that the university is not only the center of excellence in the Virgin Islands, but it is in the Caribbean. And then, even if those people go back to where they live, they will still look back to that university as a center of excellence and reinvest. So it's kind of like the big, big picture. I like to talk about that, not potholes, but people prefer to talk about potholes. I hope that answers your question.
Any others? And I've been told by those who are on teams that I need to repeat the question since they aren't hearing unless we're talking through this mic. So is there any other? We'll probably have time to take one more if there is one. Okay. Well, I am not going to prolong you. There is a break, though. As I indicated, we need a 30-minute break before we start the next session so that staff can come in and do what is necessary. So it is 9:57. So our next session should start at 10:30 in this room. As I indicated before, it is going to focus on this whole concept of antiquated systems in our institutions and how we can leap forward in regards to improving the way that we operate. If the governor is correct in that we want to get to the point where we can access all governmental services on our phone, then this session is the beginning of discussing how we get to that point. Thank you all for being present. Those who are not physically here but have been listening in, thank you for your presence as well. This is the start of the journey, and I know we're going to make giant steps forward with every session. Thank you very, very much.